Welcome and thank you for joining us today for the HHC Capital Corporation Semi-Annual Board Meeting. Today's meeting is officially called to order. For the record, please note Karen St. Hilaire is representing Molly Wassow Park and Dr. William Fisher is representing Deepa Avula, both in a voting capacity. First on our agenda is the adoption of the minutes for the HHC Capital Corporation meeting held on January 26, 2023. Are there any questions, comments, or suggested changes? None. May I have a motion to adopt these minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I'll poll each member. Dr. Katz?
Yes.
Karen St. Hilaire?
Yes.
Dr. William Fisher?
Yes.
Dr. Calamia?
Yes.
Dr. Patricia Martone?
Yes.
Robert Nolan?
Here. Yes.
Liz Pinheiro? And Jackie Rowe Adams?
Yes.
Yes, so the meeting minutes are adopted. Next, I will turn the agenda over to Linda DeHart, Vice President of HHC's Finance Corporate Reimbursement Division, to provide an update.
Thank you. So we are here with our semi-annual report for the period January through June 2023. We last reported to you in January on the 6 months prior to that. As a reminder, we use these.
Linda, it's a bit hard to hear. I don't know if
Is this better?
Sally, can you hear?
Can you speak again? More?
Is this better now?
Hard to tell. Well, keep talking and we'll know.
Okay.
So we use these CapCorp meetings to provide an update to the board on the activities under our debt finance program. On the first page, we have a picture of our outstanding bond portfolio. As of June of this year, we had $118.3 million. I'm sorry, we had total outstanding bonds of $428.5 million, 118.3 of which were in tax-exempt variable rate bonds, and the balance, $310.2 million, in tax-exempt fixed-rate bonds. Our variable rate bonds are both supported by letters of credit, one provided by TD Bank and one provided by JP Chase. The final maturity for the series 2008 B2C variable rate bonds, which are supported by TD Bank, is February 15th of 2031. The TD Bank LLC was recently extended through September 3rd of 2027, which was a 4-year increase from the previous agreement. The final maturity for our series 2008 D&E variable rate bonds is February 15th of 2026. Those bonds are supported by the JP letter of credit, which expires at the bond maturity. Our variable bond interest rates reset weekly. Our last reset during the FY23 fiscal year ranged from 4% to 4.17%. At the time we prepared this report, the last weekly reset had been July 12th, and at that point ranged from 2.15% to 2.18%. There was a jump in interest rates actually this week. So our reset as of the last couple of days is now up to 4.02% through 4.07%. And we'll talk a little bit on the next page about some of the interest rate volatility. We note here that we estimate having these variable rate bonds has saved us $73.9 million over the life of this debt. Moving to the next page. This is a snapshot of historical interest rates on our variable rate bonds. The blue line at the bottom represents our actual interest rates. The orange line at the top represents the spread to SIFMA, which is a measure of the competitiveness of those interest rates. The longer the gap, the broader the gap, it's less competitive. So you see our rates have been fairly close to SIFMA over recent years. But we do note from this chart that we're coming out of a very historic low interest rate environment following 2008 up through the last couple of years with absent the spiking from immediately in response to COVID. Interest rates remained fairly low through basically 2021 and then started to rise, but still remain fairly volatile as we saw with the recent spike. There are a lot of impacts that can affect this interest rate spread, including geopolitical issues, economic issues, inflation, of course, and the activity of the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates. Moving to the next page, we have a history of our bond issuances. We have currently outstanding, as we mentioned, bonds of $428.5 million. That is predominantly from our most recent issuance in 2020, which refunded some previous bonds, as well as issued $100 million of new money. And we have the variable rate bonds that we just discussed from the 2008 B through E series. We note that we are very active in monitoring for refunding opportunities, and over the life of our program, estimate that we have saved almost $145 million from refinancing our debts. I'll also note on the top of the chart, we give you our current credit ratings. In February, the Fitch rating was upgraded to AA-. That was a result of the city actually being upgraded, and our rates are tied to the city, so it was moved up accordingly with the evaluation of the city credit. And we will likely at our next meeting or subsequent meeting provide a little more history and background on how our credit ratings are set and how they relate to the cities.
And I just note on that, Mitch and I were talking about this, that while the rating is tied to the city's rating, H&H is a big part of the city, and the rating of the city is clearly impacted by the performance of H&H. So it's good news for us.
Turning to the next page. This is the status of our construction fund from the 2020 bond issuance, which was, again, $100 million of new money at that time. We've since had interest earnings of $1.5 million. We have spent and drawn down to date just under $62 million, leaving a balance in the fund of $39.7 million. And we'll talk more about the activity of these bond proceeds on the coming pages. So some highlights of what's happened with the 2020 bond issuances. We spent $62 million in total. That was split between equipment and infrastructure. Total spending for infrastructure through June was $40 million. That included $19.8 million that was spent in the last 6 months from January to June of this year. That compared to projected spending for that period of $33.4 million that we presented to you in January. And we'll talk a little more about the variance there and what's happened with that spending on the subsequent pages. Our projected timeline as well for spending for those infrastructure projects has been increased from originally projected to be completed in December of 2023. We now project that the projects will completed and bonds fully spent by June of 2024. There were also adjustments in the project budgets to reflect other funding sources that were received, and as a result, there's approximately $2.6 million that's been made available within the bond funding. We anticipate that funding will be needed to cover existing and anticipated change orders and cost escalations for the current list of projects. And we have with us Anika Brown from OFD, who can speak more to that if there are questions and as we move forward. We'll also note again, the equipment projects were completed in December of 2022, so there has been no new activity, and their total spending was $22 million. This slide provides a snapshot of the project budgets for the new money. As you can see, it was split roughly 75% to infrastructure and a little under 22% to equipment. And there is some balance that the budget totals $97.6 million because, as I indicated, there is some balance available that we anticipate being used to cover future changes to the infrastructure projects. Within infrastructure, you can see on the pie chart, the projects were predominated by HVAC and roof, HVAC being heating and cooling systems and ventilation. And on the equipment side, the spending was predominantly for imaging and other medical equipment. Turning to the next page, this chart addresses the cash flow for the infrastructure projects that we addressed in January. We are updating you now to what has happened since then. So the dark blue bars represent actual spending from January to June. The light blue bars are the revised projections on spending for those projects within budget. And the dashed orange line represents the original projections that had been made in January. So it was an ask of this committee to see how our projections held up over time. There are several, influences that affected that project timing, which Anikwa, I will ask to briefly address.
Sure. So there are a number of things that impacted the cash flow in terms of starting up our construction projects, waiting for equipment, supply chain issues. So the project started up a little bit later than anticipated. And then also, and just with the cash flow, with contractors being able to submit and get invoices paid, we had a little bit of change in our facility and our office rather. And so that delayed some of the payments slightly, but you'll see that the trajectory has increased as previously projected, just at a slower rate. So we anticipate that all payments will be done towards the end of June as we approach closed out over the next few months.
Thank you. Third, we turn to our outstanding equipment loan program. As you know, the board has authorized the CFO to borrow up to $120 million for outstanding debt for equipment and short-term projects at any time. Over the life of this program under this authority, we have borrowed a total of $159.8 million. Our current outstanding debt is $44.6 million on 2 loans, and we'll detail the status of those loans on the following pages. First is our 2017 Citibank loan. This loan had 2 components, both $30 million, a fixed rate 5-year loan, which matured in November of 2022, which was at a 2.17% interest rate, and a 5-year revolving loan, which will be maturing in October of this year. That loan also has a weekly interest rate reset based on the SIFMA index. When it was initiated, the rate was 2.2%. At the end of fiscal 2023 in June, it had been set at 4.61%. And again, at the time we prepared this report, the most recent update showed a decrease to 2.8%, but just this week, it's gone back up to 4.58%. Moving to the next page, our JP Morgan loan. This was a more recent loan taken out in 2022 to refinance 2 boiler projects that had initially been financed and conducted by NYPA in 2018. Both loans are 15-year tax-exempt loans maturing in June of 2037 with an interest rate of 2.64%. They covered projects at Elmhurst, where we borrowed $19.4 million, and Metropolitan, where we borrowed $20.4 million for a total of $39.7. As noted, this was just a recent loan, so outstanding balance is still $37.6 million. And finally, we have an update on our arbitrage rebate related to the 2013 Series A bond. This bond matured in February of 2023 and therefore required a final arbitrage report. Arbitrage requires that if interest earnings on tax-exempt bonds proceed exceed the bond yield, issuers are required to rebate that difference to the IRS. So our final report, which was conducted by our bond counsel, Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood, showed that there was no arbitrage rebate liability associated with these bonds. However, during the life of the debt, you are required to conduct an arbitrage analysis every 5 years. In the 5th year for these bonds, which was in 2018, that analysis did show a liability through that point of $581,000 paid to the IRS. So because later investments of the proceeds had lower interest rates, the analysis through the completion of the debt shows that there actually was no liability. So we have filed a refund to receive a rebate, a return of that $581,000 that we paid. That concludes my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. I'll poll each member for questions. Dr. Katz, comments?
Only to say that your finance team, Linda, gives us great confidence in the work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Karen?
No questions. Thank you.
Dr. Fisher?
No questions, thank you.
Dr. Calamia?
No questions.
Dr. Bartone?
No questions, but thank you for your report.
Mr. Nolan?
No questions.
Ms. Hernandez Pinheiro?
I have 3 brief questions.
Go ahead.
We promise.
I knew. I'm
Okay.
kidding.
On the TD Bank letter of credit that was extended, when it matures in 27, you will have to get another letter of credit at that point?
We will generally start about a year out to renew the letters of credit. If it falls within a year, it changes the accounting treatment of it, so we start in advance. But we will be looking to renew.
Okay. And then the drawdown period on the construction bond proceeds was extended to June 2024. Did you need permission to do that, or we just had the authority to do that?
We have the authority. Once we borrowed the funds, we're repaying the debt, so the funds are available to us to use. So we have flexibility. There were some possibilities that we could have had savings related to interest earnings on that debt if we had spent more timely. We passed that period though, so there's no, we passed it quite a while ago. So there's no sort of further implication of the extension of that spending.
Okay. And my last question is actually for Matt, I think. Looking at the drawdowns, the construction drawdowns, get to the page. Yeah. You can see Bellevue at 32 million, and then I guess on the infrastructure, 26 million for Bellevue, Lincoln at 12, and Elmhurst at 8. And I just wonder how this fits into the capital plan that is in the process of being developed, or are these needs significant enough so that we would have put them as a priority regardless? In other words, are these opportunistic, or would they have fit into the, what's the name of the plan? Should have a more artful name for it.
CIP? What plan?
The plan that's gonna show construction spending over through the 5 boroughs over time.
Right. I'd say these are pre-existing needs and primarily focused on kind of state of good repair investments. I don't think we looked at these as kind of big strategic projects, which is sort of how the opportunistic phrase we've used, right? Those are bigger kind of one-off projects that likely would have been the full $100 million cost or 1 or 2 projects.
Right.
Instead, this was focused on a kind of array of needed kind of bread and butter infrastructure projects. So still a priority, but not, I'd say, in that opportunistic big ticket bucket.
All right, thank you. See, quick.
Thank you. Ms. Rowe Adams, any questions? Well, thank you very much. I want to echo Dr. Katz's comments, both finance and OFD. I think you guys very comprehensive and monitoring our portfolio very well and the opportunities for savings and the risks involved in our debt portfolio. So appreciate that. Any old business or new business to come before this board? If there is no further business, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.